red-eye flight from New York to London was supposed to be ordinary. The cabin lights dimmed, passengers settled in, and the steady hum of the engines became a lullaby for those drifting to sleep. In seat 13F by the window sat Emily Carter, a young journalist, notebook on her lap, headphones in her ears. It was her first real vacation in years. No deadlines, no breaking news, no late-night calls from her editor. Just a chance to breathe. But at 37,000 feet, peace rarely lasts long. The first sign came as a flicker on the cabin lights. A moment later, the intercom crackled. The captain's voice sounded steady, but strained. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm and in your seats. We're experiencing a minor technical issue." Emily glanced out her window. The night sky stretched endlessly, stars scattered across the black canvas. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then she noticed it. Faint streaks of light cutting through the darkness, moving too fast, too precise to be commercial planes. 2 F-22 Raptors. Her heart skipped a beat. What were U.S. Air Force fighters doing here, shadowing a civilian aircraft over the Atlantic? The intercom crackled again, the captain hesitating. "We've been instructed to follow a new course. Everything is under control." But Emily's instincts, the instincts of a reporter who had sniffed out cover-ups before, told her everything was not under control. And then, through the window of seat 13F, she saw it. The lead F-22 pilot turning his jet sharply, signaling something to the airliner. A move so deliberate, so precise, it was impossible to ignore. Emily leaned forward, pressing her face to the glass. Her pen slipped from her fingers as she whispered to herself, "What the hell is going on out there?" Emily's pulse quickened as she watched the fighter jets circle the plane. Their sleek gray silhouettes glinted under the moonlight, each movement sharp and calculated. Passengers around her murmured nervously, some craning their necks to see, others pulling their window shades shut, as if that would erase the fear. A stewardess moved down the aisle, trying to calm people. "It's just a precaution, folks. Please, stay seated." But her trembling hands betrayed the words. Emily pressed her forehead to the window again. The F-22 nearest to her plane dipped its wing sharply, once, twice, before pulling ahead. It wasn't random. It was communication, a signal. Her instincts screamed at her. This was no routine escort. She glanced at the flight map on the seatback screen. Their course had changed. Instead of arcing toward London, the jet was drifting south, out over the vast emptiness of the Atlantic. Emily grabbed her notebook, scribbling furiously. She recorded the time, their position, every move the fighters made. Years as a journalist had trained her to document everything, even when her own fear threatened to overwhelm her. Suddenly, the captain's voice returned, clipped and uneven. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're cooperating fully with military procedure. For your safety, please remain calm." But as he spoke, Emily caught sight of something chilling, a third aircraft in the distance. Darker, larger, almost blending with the night. It wasn't commercial. It wasn't a fighter either. Its shape was wrong. The lead F-22 broke formation, darting directly between the airliner and the mysterious craft. Then, in one stunning move, the jet tilted sideways, flashing its entire wing surface toward Emily's plane. A maneuver pilots only used in emergencies to warn of imminent danger. The cabin erupted with whispers and gasps. Phones lifted despite the crew's protests. Fear hung heavy in the recycled air. Emily's pen dug into the page as she wrote 3 words over and over again. They know something, and in her gut she realized the truth. This wasn't an escort. It was a shield. The F-22s weren't protecting them from the outside world. They were protecting the world from something inside this plane. The passengers were restless now, whispers turning into sharp voices demanding answers. The crew tried desperately to maintain order, but it was useless. People sensed the truth. Something was very, very wrong. Emily's hand gripped her notebook so tightly her knuckles whitened. She glanced out the window again. The F-22s weren't leaving. They tightened their formation, wings slicing the air in perfect symmetry, flanking the airliner like bodyguards escorting a target through hostile territory. Her stomach churned. Were they the target? The intercom clicked once more. The captain's voice, this time, shook. "Passengers, please stay calm. We've been given strict instructions not to disclose operational details, but I assure you, you are not in immediate danger." The words were meant to soothe. Instead, they confirmed everyone's fear. Suddenly, a sharp cry broke out near the back of the plane. A man in a gray hoodie stumbled into the aisle, clutching his stomach, sweat pouring down his face. His eyes darted wildly, as though he were being hunted by shadows no one else could see. Two flight attendants rushed toward him, but he shouted, his voice guttural and broken. "They followed me! They can't have it!" "They can't." Before he could finish, his body convulsed violently. He collapsed to the floor, gasping, his sleeve rolling back to reveal a tattoo. A trident insignia, faded but unmistakable. Emily's heart stopped. She recognized it. Navy SEAL. The cabin erupted in chaos. Passengers screamed, children cried, and the crew struggled to restrain the man as he thrashed, half-conscious, muttering words no one wanted to understand. Through the window, the F-22s moved closer still, their formation shifting into attack posture. Emily realized they weren't just shielding anymore. They were ready to strike if necessary. The man's voice dropped to a whisper as Emily leaned forward, straining to hear. "They buried it. Silent dagger. But it's still alive. It's still here." And then his eyes rolled back. His body went limp. The cabin froze in horrified silence. Emily's gaze snapped back to the window, just in time to see the lead F-22 tilt its wing again. Not a warning this time, but a command. The plane lurched sharply, engines roaring as it banked off course, the Atlantic stretching endlessly below. Gasps filled the cabin. Emily's pen slipped from her hand as a single realization hit her with the force of a tidal wave. This flight wasn't going to London anymore. It was being diverted, controlled, contained, and seat 13F, the one she thought was ordinary, was no accident. She was sitting at the center of a story far bigger and far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. The F-22s had made their stunning move, and now every life on that plane depended on what came next.